Hi Cancer, welcome to your Mercury Retrograde in Pisces and Aquarius, but mainly Pisces, special. Ooh. Right off the bat we just had a Six of Pentacles pop up. So before I could even get into the astrology of the matter, the Six of Pentacles is telling me that some relationship, some work dynamic, some financial dynamic is out of balance. One person is having to step in where the other person's maybe not doing enough. And it could be quite exhausting. And Mercury retrograde in Pisces might make you realize where some of your relationships and some of your clients and some of your colleagues or whatever it is to you, most likely clients, most likely, Eight of Cups. Something's got to give. Something's got to change. You're possibly weighing up the pros and cons of following some kind of dream now, taking some kind of trip, taking some kind of adventure. You're maybe worried that all of that is coming to an end in some way, shape, or form, or the possibilities that you had dreamed of are coming to an end. That's Mercury retrograde talking. Nothing is as scary as it seems. Four of Cups. You're trying to, and we talked about this in the March reading, you're trying to decide whether or not you should take the cup. Whether or not you should take the emotions that are being given to you at this minute, because they might be good, they might be bad, but they're eye-opening. But let's consult the cards on what is coming for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Mercury retrograde, February, March 2020. Judgment. Seven of Pentacles, the Chariot, there's your energy, the Page of Swords, and the Two of Wands. So what is coming back around for Cancers? Queen of Cups and the Star. Beautiful. Very, very much like your March 2020 reading in terms of cards, for sure. Now, one thing that I'm seeing for Cancers is that Mercury retrograde is actually putting you back in contact with someone you'd not heard in a long time. Judgment can do that. Mercury retrograde can do that. But Judgment very often is kind of a rebirth or a revisit from something that you thought had died a death. It is a resurrection of some kind. For a lot of you, it seems to be in terms of choosing a pathway in this life. It's almost as if you're thinking more about what is my divine purpose, what is my calling, or even is there something more to this? You could be revisiting a book that you haven't read in a long time and finally it speaks to you. You could be introduced to an artist, a musician, a singer, a philosopher, a writer, something that really, really speaks to you, and it gives you a perspective that you needed. It's part of the puzzle in order for you to take the steps forward the way that you know that you should. There is an element of manifestation here. There's an element of dreaming something into existence. And all it requires is for you to decide that, yes, I want this, I will go forward with this. And while Pisces season and Mercury retrograde indeed seems to be a time that you reflect and you revisit, reflection, and I spoke about this on my Pisces retrograde post on Instagram, it's linked below if you want to read it, it will still be there. Pisces season, with the retrograde energy, we think about water and we think about reflection. And when I look at the Queen of Cups, she very much seems to be looking at her wine glass here. And it's twinkling in the starlight. And then followed by that, so beautifully in terms of aesthetics, is the star. She is a dreamer. She is a wisher. She is very much in touch with the night sky and all that mystery, but she can see in the mystery, in the space, in the darkness that she doesn't quite understand, but she has faith in. She can see that she herself can decide what stars to follow. And for some of you, it can be as simple as having a child. For some of you, it can be as simple as being a mother, that maternal instinct that comes with Cancerians, being a father. And for others of you, it can be a career dream, or it can be love. And I think for a lot of you, Mercury retrograde is ironically going to show you where you need to go in order to get these things. And that's quite a gift. But I think for a lot of you, it involves some kind of physical journey. I think it involves traveling to go on a course, traveling to meet somebody, traveling to get a broader perspective, traveling because you've just always wanted to and you don't know why you keep putting it off. Do you follow? And if something comes back around, and I think for many of you, it could actually be a water sign, you need to consider what it is that is going wrong here if this keeps coming in and out of your life, particularly if it is a fellow water sign, if it's a Scorpio, if it is a Pisces. There is a tendency when Mercury is retrograde, particularly in the water signs, for people to say things that they feel very, very, very intensely at the time, but that they quite simply, upon reflection, don't mean. And I think you're lying dormant on some sort of confrontation that really needs to happen. And I think for a lot of you, it's going to happen just as Mercury goes direct and we move into Aries season. And it's been brewing for quite a long time. You've been trying to avoid it, especially if it's with an earth sign, and especially if it's with a Scorpio. But of course, as they don't like to be ignored, the fire signs are also a possibility. So, if you're thinking of a career change, it would be best to get your frustrations out to somebody who can't just terminate your contract. So make sure that whatever it is that is bothering you is released in a healthy way, and that you're not letting the energy build up and build up and build up till you come to a confrontation absolutely livid with somebody else. You explode and everything turns to ashes. What you actually have to do is think of the points that you want to say, vent to a trustworthy party that is not privy to the information or the dynamics, get an objective perspective, and let it happen. With the Page of Swords, snooping on your exes on social media is a bad idea. It's a very bad idea. I know that it's Mercury retrograde and you're tempted to snoop, Cancer, and I think with Cancerians there's always been this element of wanting to snoop. Particularly on a Pisces ex or a Pisces friend. Nevertheless, there is a problem with trying to keep things hidden right now. So if there's anything that you're ashamed of or you don't want to get out, you're going to have to find your own way of releasing it before it really blows up in your face. However, a relationship that is long-standing, that could have been in difficulties, can indeed be salvaged by you taking the initiative to say what you think you should say. I think they would support that decision. Mercury retrograde. Oh, the little lamb. Springtime. I love lamb energy. So fresh, so exciting, so pure. Somebody in your life could be meeting these qualities. And the dolphin, of course. Dolphin regularly associated with Pisces, all about having fun, being creative, enjoying life. Getting back your more innocent, happier tendencies, Cancer, instead of resorting to this passive aggression that can often come from the Four of Swords and the Five of Wands. Being passive in confrontation, but still holding a sword, still being ready to swipe people with your words. It's not going to work. It's going to have to be honest. It's going to have to be open, and it's probably going to have to be now, if you want it to go anywhere, and if you want the good times to roll again, and they will. Pisces season is very good for you, but there is, of course, a couple of things that you need to look into. Ooh. trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? And no. Weren't expecting that, were we, Cancer? Well, the reason for it, when we see the trust your path, and if you knew you were supported, what would you do? Where does no come into it? Well, it says that you're on a path of discovery here with the Two of Wands, Queen of Cups, and the Star. There is some element of wish fulfillment coming true, and it's coming true for you directly. It's not coming true for somebody in your immediate circle. This is you. This is your Queen of Cups energy and the Star. And if you've been wishing regarding another water sign, again, I think there seems to be the potential for some kind of rekindling there. What I will say, what I suspect, because again, with the no card, we see this image of the night sky. And remember what I said about seeing in the stars, which direction you want to follow. Well, the no aspect of this is quite simply knowing that a big part of the steps that you have to take is trusting. And trusting in the unknown. And it's interesting because in the March 2020 reading, which is up on the channel for you, the Fool was a big key player in it. And what's so good about this is it's the essence of leaping forward into the unknown, but a lot of that is taking a leap of faith. And faith is, of course, trusting in what you can't see and what you cannot do yourself. So the no part for you, Cancer, I would regard this as being receptive rather than reactive. And the Queen of Cups, she looks pretty darn receptive. Now with the Chariot in the positive position, it is in essence telling you that your momentum forward is supported, it is strong, and it is leading you towards your season with vigor and strength. And you will get there. And if you have to assert some boundaries and learn when to say no, when you feel obligated to say yes through something that is not desire, want, necessity, but it is simply to please somebody else, or it is if someone asks you if you have an opinion and you say no, or someone asks if you want to talk about the thing that annoyed you and you said no. Maybe you quite simply said no for the wrong reasons, and maybe if somebody asks you if you're happy about something, you should say no. It might lead to a confrontation or two, I suspect it might. But your outcome is one of the better hands that we've seen. Two of Wands, Queen of Cups, and the Star. If you're wishing for a relationship, I think Mercury Retrograde is going to show you what direction is right for you, rather than going down this wrong for you route. The challenge is not to gossip, not to be unkind, not to be cruel with your words, not to be manipulative, not to spy on people too much, not to micromanage too much, not to helicopter over your kids too much. Relinquish a little control and focus on your dreams. And if you need to say no, say no. You're on the right path. Saying no will not block you from what it is that you want. So that is what Mercury Retrograde is trying to teach you. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in the March reading. Bye, Cancer.